Heavy metal
My
rock.
global mind.
In control, let me go. Vilified for the man I've become. Tomorrow's always yesterday, yeah. I am the light, I am the rage. Won't you let me in? Vilified for being who I am. The clowns and fools forever enslaved, yeah.
I'm Robert Cavuto, and today on My Global Mind, we are speaking with Ron Bumblefoot Thal of Art of Anarchy for the upcoming 2024 release, Let There Be Anarchy, and to talk about the new song, Vilified. So welcome and thank you. Pleasure to speak with you as always.
Yes, always a pleasure. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on.
No, I love the new album, the new song, I should say. The new single, Vilified, is heavy, dark, laced with progressive undertones. How would you describe the rest of the album that's going to be out in 2024?
For people that are familiar with the past albums, it's a little more like the first album musically. Just very, I always call it like Big Four, Metallica, Megadeth, and Anthrax, like those kind of guitar riffs in there, but with Jeff Scott Soto singing, which brings more of this radio-friendly kind of vibe to it.
Great.
So it's sort of a mix between the two. Like it has the old school metal influences, inspirations. So it's kind of like that. And yeah.
Cool. Was there a discussion that you guys sit down and you talk about this third album and say, what direction do we want to go? What do we think it should sound like? Should it be a little different than the first or the second?
Never happens.
Really?
We just write, and what comes out, we do. Yeah. So with this one, I mean, the way this album started, it was, the band was on hiatus, and during right around the end of 2019, Jon, the other guitar player, Jon Votta, he got sick, and they couldn't figure out what it was, and like every body system was shutting down, and he was slowly dying.
Oh boy.
And it took a long time before they could figure it out and diagnose it and treat him and coming back. So during that time, he would just lie in bed watching a lot of movies with a guitar in his hand.
Wow.
And he kept watching the Joker movie over and over. And he would just play along with the movie. And eventually things that he was playing were sticking. And it turned into the song Vilified, which is why the song has all these references to the Joker. We filmed it on the Joker stairs in the Bronx and all of that stuff. And it's the first song that came together that sort of relaunched the band and made us start recording a new album.
That's true.
So once he, bounced back and hit me up and said, I got this new song I want to record. Can I come over? And and we just set up the drums on that rug right behind me there.
Yeah.
And just back to business the way we have for 12 years. So we would get together every Friday for about half a year, and just every day, every one of those Fridays, by that night we had a song finished.
Awesome.
And recorded, just the three of us. And during that time, Jeff, my Sons of Apollo bandmate.
Yep.
Jeff, the guy. And he said to me, he's like, you should have just had me sing from the beginning. Things would have went so smoothly and everything would have been great. And because he and I, we work together really well, always have. And even outside of Sons of Apollo and doing whether acoustic shows or anything else. So I mentioned it to John and Vince, the guitarist and drummer. For those that don't know, they're twin brothers that play guitar, drums. They're like the founders of the band. Yeah. I've known them since they were teenagers, and I was about 10 years older. And I used to engineer and produce their recordings at a studio in Staten Island, and we just stayed friends.
Yeah.
So I mentioned to them, to John and Vince, said, Jeff has expressed interest in, he's in. Yeah. And there it is. So started showing Jeff the music, and Jeff likes to write to finished songs. Like a lot of times you write together and you come up with a part, and singer comes up with a melody idea, and then that leads to another new part and like that kind of thing. But the way Jeff likes to do it is he likes to hear a finished song, and then he comes up with all the ideas to it and writes to it like that.
That's great.
So we would finish a song, we would send it to him, and he would write something, boom, done.
Very
Finish
cool.
a song, send it to him, he would write something, boom, done. And we did this album, and we finished it up, and the band was back. And then John Moyer, the bass player for the last 2 albums,
Right.
he wasn't going to be continuing with it. So Jeff suggested that we get his bass player, Tony Dickinson, from his Soto band, and in TSO, Trans-Siberian Orchestra. They both do that. And the guy's phenomenal, and he's funny, and he's just a great guy. So I was like, yeah, bring him in. Keep it all family.
Right.
So it was like, there's me and the voters, there's me and Jeff, there's Jeff and Tony, and now, yeah.
And plus you have a singer that has Scott in his name.
Which is
Or
part of the rules. Like there has to be,
get-
like we have to have some kind of Scott.
Yes.
And for me, it's like either I have to play with someone with a Scott in their name, or they have to be a Scotsman. They have to be Scottish.
Scotsman, okay.
So any of those things.
And a band with of in it, right?
Hmm?
And a band with of in it. Sons of Apollo, Art of Anarchy, right?
No. Yeah.
And I shouldn't get them mixed up. So that's
Bumblefoot.
Yeah, that's great. It's no secret that the band has had, their hard times with singers in the past. So I would imagine, did he have to even audition or come down, or is just right from the get-go, John Vince said he's in?
Jeff, no need to audition. We have 40 years of music that proves what he can do.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Fantastic stuff. And I've worked with him, so I know on and off the road and in the studio and everything. And yeah, it was a no-brainer. Like if he wants in, he's in.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy. I've spoken to him a couple of times, met him a couple of times. He seems super chill and just all-around nice guy. So should be smooth sailing. You were talking about John was sick. Is he better now?
He is.
Oh, good. That's important. Yeah, that's great. Do you think this iteration of band will tour?
Yeah, that's the plan.
That's
we have a great booking agent, and we've been looking at a few offers. I mean, we would love to get out there and open for some bands that we love, or just do a package thing with bands that we love.
Yeah.
When we went out for the second album, we did headlining stuff in smaller venues. It was all right. It was nice.
Yeah.
But we'll see what we can do. We want to do it all. So whatever we can do.
That's great. Yeah. I didn't get to see you with Scott Stapp, so I'm hoping to see you guys this time around for sure.
Good. I hope so.
And I love Sons of Apollo, so that's always a combination. You seem to be caught up in a lot of progressive bands lately. Sons of Apollo, which is a little different than obviously Guns N' Roses. Is that your kind of place? I don't know what the right word is, but is that your?
Is it my ballpark?
Is it your ballpark? That's yes.
For lack of a better word.
Right.
I like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like my first loves musically were Kiss and the Beatles. So anything like either two of those, I'd be happy. Then from there, just listening to lots of classic 60s, 70s music, anything like that.
Yeah.
And then when punk music came about, loved it. Anything like that, be happy with.
Right.
And then old school metal started creeping up. Anything like that, I'd be happy with.
Yeah.
But also a lot of the 70s progressive stuff, Yes, Crimson, UK, Asia. Yeah. Absolutely. Jethro Tull, they count.
Yeah.
So all of that. Love that stuff. ELP. So definitely a strong love for prog music.
That's cool.
And my own music was very much like that. It was very progressive. If you listen to my first album, songs in like 11/16, like all kinds of crazy timings and just weird stuff going on and very complex.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely in my blood. I mean, I'm fine just jamming AC/DC covers too. You know,
Yeah.
as long as I'm playing and happy doing it and playing with people that are good people and playing for people that are enjoying it, then it's all good. It doesn't even matter what kind of music it is. It's more about just the connection that's occurring because of the music. So yeah, but definitely with Sons of Apollo, getting back into writing and playing progressive stuff, yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. I enjoy it. I was never a big progressive fan, but I started to slowly get into it. I think Sons of Apollo for me personally was a nice introduction to progressive. It was still hard, still heavy, yet it had progressive. So I like that.
Well, it's Jeff's voice that ties it all together. Like he can take some crazy music and sing over it and make it something that you can grab. For people that don't want to do math in their head while they're listening to music, you know, Jeff ties that together.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So tell me a little about your relationship with Jon and Vince. What do you guys bring out of each other in a creative sense when you're in that back studio of yours, jamming out the songs and parts?
Well, Jon, his guitar style is very old school metal. It's very just that, like a bomb that's about to go off. And me, I'm a different player. His tone also is more of like a scooped metal sound. Mine is more of like a rounded, warmer sound. So there's a nice complement to each other that we bring.
Yeah.
So what do we bring out of each other?
Right.
I don't know if we really bring anything out of each other. We just sort of complement each other, where if I come up with something, he will come up with something that's genuinely him, that he will add to it. And the same, he'll come up with some riff and then I'll come up with something that's maybe this weird atmospheric sound or some weird tappy thing or something. Just we each just do what we do and we're ourselves. And you know, he's salt, I'm pepper. And yeah.
And that's some of the best relationships and chemistry in bands. Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, they're not exactly the same. You know, they're not carbon copies of each other. They're slightly different and they still bring a lot of unity together when they play.
Yeah,
So,
it's great when you have a band where you can hear what every member is bringing to the music, like those individual ingredients, and you could point them out. It's like, that's obviously this person, that's obviously that one, and obviously that one. I mean, it's easy with a drummer and a bass player, and a singer, but when you have more than one guitar player to know who's who, when you can tell, that's a good thing when you have that.
That's fun. You have a great sound on the album too. You talked a little bit about it earlier. It was really, it was full, present, and had a lot of bite to it and definition.
Oh, good.
What was this? What was the stage set? What was the studio setup for you guys back there?
This room, drums in there. This is a very bouncy room. It's a very loud room, and it's great for drums. It really gives a lot of energy to drums.
But the guitar sound.
Drums while playing guitar along with them, just direct into everything. And I am a long-time Steinberg Cubase user. That is my software of choice. Love it. It's wonderful. So we would just record into that and then just keep on going and just adding to it. And I would do the mixing and the mastering and all of that stuff. I would listen to different things like Slipknot, Five Finger, and listen to their mixes just to put my brain in the right place and then work on this and compare. It's like, oh, maybe the drum should have a little more attack, maybe this or that. And just, yeah.
So when you're recording, you're not going through an amp, you're directly plugged in?
We're going direct. I'm using Line 6 Helix, and I have my own presets and everything, and that is my sound.
And everybody's got earplugs in?
Anymore.
Everybody's got headphones? You can hear what they're going on? That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
Keeps
very
the neighbors
just
happy.
down-to-earth, organic kind of,
It keeps the neighbors happy, right?
I got cool neighbors, very tolerant neighbors. In fact, the guy next door, Eric, great guy. He plays guitar too. So every once in a while, he'll come over, show me like a new guitar he got, and we'll just hang and jam a little bit. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty nice. Yeah. When I was in a band and we were in somebody's basement, we got a couple, the police were always knocking at the door. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like the neighbors complain. They said that there's a woman screaming. It's like, no, that's just our metal singer. You know?
Yeah. Exactly. And everything was too loud.
Hmm.
Do you change your approach to your guitar playing, whether it's Sons of Apollo, Art of Anarchy?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. You don't want to wear the same clothing to different events. You know,
Oh
I
wow,
always say
that's
you
great.
don't wear a clown suit to a funeral. Uh,
Great analogy.
yeah, yeah. So it's that kind of thing. It's like you're just you're taking in everybody else's musical energy, style, everything. Just and you want to do what's appropriate for the overall. So like in the end, everybody can only sound like themselves.
Right, right.
But the choices you make, you want to make them for the song and what's best for the song and the direction of the music, the band. So for Art of Anarchy, things are going to be a lot straighter than they would be for Sons of Apollo, anything like that, where it's going to be more weird riffs and weird times trying to push the limit in that direction. Yeah.
Do you ever come up with a song and go, the Art of Anarchy, Sons of Apollo? You flip the coin,
That has happened.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's times where I would write things and say, all right, is this good? I just wrote something and is it right for this? Is it right for that? Or should I just keep it for myself for a solo album?
yeah, gotcha.
That happens too. Or is it like, you know what? This is a nice little pop song. Let me hang on to this. And maybe someday, if I'm working with a pop artist, I say, hey, I wrote this song 10 years ago. What do you think of this?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And yeah, you just write and eventually, hopefully, there's the right home for it.
For it.
But usually, if you're writing with a certain band in mind, you're writing the right thing for that band.
Yeah, I get
Whether
it.
it's good or not, but at least it's the right direction for that band.
That's awesome. What's some of your favorite musical aspects of the first two albums? Outside of the singers, because I think they're very different.
Yeah, very different, and it brought out such a difference in the music.
Yes.
You know, it's like a different band when you
Yes.
listen to both albums.
I
It
agree.
really is.
I agree.
And that'll happen when you have such an important thing like, you know, the voice is the focal point of it all. When that changes, the band changes.
Yeah.
More so than anything. So the first album was sort of like this one. It was just John and Vince running wild.
Yeah.
And that first album there wasn't even supposed to be a band. It was just a producing favor with my friends. And like that's how it started. Like they wrote 10 pieces of music of just drums and guitar, and they wanted to come and record it. And then I also laid guitar on it. And there was going to be different singers singing on different songs.
Right.
Just making their dream album with all their favorite singers. The first person we asked was Weiland, and he sang "Till the Dust Is Gone" and made that song. You know, he just took in a direction I never would have thought of, and
Yeah.
that's what made him so great. Is that he really just did things that no one else would have even thought to do.
Right.
That worked so well, and then they suggested that I should say his people, that's the they, suggested that why don't we make this a band and I'll do the whole album and take it from there. So now it became like a band where it was me and the Votas and Weiland, and then we got John Moyer in. So it started off, the foundation of it was this music of just the Votas doing that thing. So it has that old school metal kind of thing to it with Weiland's voice,
Yeah.
which just brings out only what he can do. Yeah.
Sure.
The second album, we were writing that together.
Mhm.
So a lot of the Voda's musical style was diluted into everybody else's. But now with this third album, it's more like them again.
I get
And
it.
I wrote some songs on there as well, and I contributed. But to me, I see them as the foundation musically,
Yeah.
John and Vince. So it's almost back to that, but that's the difference. Those voices on the first two albums will always make you think of the bands they came from, that they got their notoriety with. And there will always be that reference and that similarity. I mean, that's undeniable. Like, you can listen to the second record and say, oh, you know, it sounds like Stapp's past work. You're going to listen to Weiland and maybe say, oh, it reminds me of, like, you know, heavier stuff that he did with his past work.
Right.
So yeah, that's the thing. Like, when you change the singer, you're changing the whole face of the band.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the new album. I'm really I can't wait to start listening to it. So I listened to Vilified a bunch of times, but I'm really excited about.
So you didn't hear the rest yet?
No, nobody. I wasn't allowed to get it. It's done. Is it fully baked?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's fully baked.
It's done and ready to print up the vinyl and everything. In fact, we just announced that we're doing the pre-orders for the vinyl and the CD and the shirt and the bundle. So Pavement, great bunch of guys. They, wonderful team.
I'll be sure to put that.
And all of them. So Pavement Music, they are the ones behind Plush. A lot of bands they work with, and they're fantastic. So they took us on, and they are, you know, we're all fighting the good fight together. Yeah.
And I'll put the link for pre-orders.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm honestly hoping that, you know, maybe you, me, John could have a sit down later down the road and do an interview for the full album. That would be awesome too.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. You touched upon your solo work. Are you working on anything solo wise on a new album? Because it's been a while, 2015, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's a long time.
That was the last one. And I did, you know, just like one song I put out in 2019, a song I put out in 2020. Yeah. But during the rest of that time, from 2015 to 2020, 2 Art of Anarchy albums and 2 Sons of Apollo albums.
Right.
So I have a new solo album finished.
Wow.
And yeah, it's been done for months. Now I'm just doing all kinds of things like transcribing songs, which is a job in itself, trying to write out, figure out what I did. Got all these crazy notes that I'm looking at, trying to like figure out, because I just wrote down everything as I recorded for the crazier parts with all the cross outs. I was like, oh no, let's do this instead. Let's do that.
Up here, down there, up here, down there.
Yeah. So doing all of that, and want to make some animated videos and all kinds of just fun little things, so that when I put out the album, it's not just the music, there's more that the people can tie into it and just have it just be a bigger part of everything, you know, instead of just listening to it. If you can learn how to play it and play along and all of that, or anything like that. So I'm working on that stuff, but the album has been done. It's mixed. It's just collecting dust for months now until I put it out. And it is all instrumental this time. I haven't done that in almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Very first album I put out on Shrapnel Records, called The Adventures of Bumblefoot. It came out in 1995.
Oh shit.
And yeah, so I haven't done an entirely instrumental album since. So I have some wonderful guests on this one too that join me, that I think might surprise some people and make them happy. They did great stuff on it. I didn't go crazy with the guests, just a small handful, but best of the best. So
cool. I look forward to that too. Do you transcribe so that you'll remember, or are you transcribing for another purpose?
Well, I transcribe so that I can put out a transcription book so that people can learn it and play it.
Okay.
But also, I don't remember what the hell I played. So if I don't write it down, it's like, remember that movie Memento? You had like 15 seconds or 15 minutes to remember anything. So we get tattoos of things. Well, pretty much anything I play, within 15 seconds, I forget it. I have 15 seconds to start like scribbling things down. Otherwise, I'll never know what the hell I did. And even now, even with it, I'm like, what did I do?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that's...
Are you an improv guy? Like, you're improving all that, recording it, and then transcribing it?
Yeah. So
you don't write anything out in advance.
I'll lay down a solo, and then quickly, I was like, all right, I'm keeping that. Let me see, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Oh, okay, good. And yeah.
What about Sons of Apollo? What are you guys up to with that?
That one? Yeah.
Yeah, with Billy and Mike.
Well, I have music that I'm doing with Derek. I have this Art of Anarchy music I'm doing with Jeff.
Yeah.
And Mike and Billy have the Winery Dogs.
Right. That they're touring all over in Europe, I think, right?
Yeah.
So maybe down the road.
Never know.
You know?
Yeah. You never know.
You never know.
But at least we got 2 albums out.
Yeah.
And well, really 3 if you can count the live in Plovdiv, the big live thing with the
Right. I enjoyed that one. I saw the video. There was the video for that, right? The DVD. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was awesome. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure to speak with you, and I look forward
pleasure
to
is mine.
talking
Thank
down
you.
the road. For the next release or when this one comes out in 2024. Nobody gave me a date in just 2024. It's a big time frame.
Mid-February.
Oh, really? Yay. Very cool. I'll put that in the write-up. Well, thank you so much, Ron. Have a great day, all right?
Thank you. Have a great one, as always. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Heavy metal rock.
My global mind.